Hey everybody, this is episode 117 of the Paper Robots podcast. I am your host, Logan Naugle, and this week's episode is all about looking at 2018 as a year and looking at it as my life as a creator in that year. Let's jump right into the show. Go with the theme song. All right, and we're back. Thank you everyone for joining me in 2018. Listeners, new viewers, you're fantastic. Thanks for making it through almost 120 episodes of this show. I can't do it without you and the guests and everything that I get on the show, so thank you so much. This episode is, like I said in the intro, all about the things that myself as a creator, trying to break it into comics as a writer and a podcaster, what my goals are for 2018. I wanted to set that out, have that be out there so I have some accountability, and then I can look back at it at the end of the year and see where I failed or succeeded. Hopefully more success than losses, but we'll see. So let's jump right into the goals, and then we'll talk about things I'm excited for, like movies, TV shows, etc. So my goals for this year are: looking back on 2017, I didn't do enough reading. I talked about that on the last episode. I wasn't reading enough. I felt like I spent too much time getting off of work or whatever and just consuming TV or like popcorn stuff, things that don't matter. So reading books is a huge goal for this year. So I want to read 10 to 25 regular books, with paper, no pictures. I want to read 100 comic books at least. And I've already started doing that and kind of have a list going so I can see what I remember. After reading everything, I can keep track. I can be encouraged to be like, I'm at 97. I only have 3 more to go. But then also I can look back at the end of the year and remember the titles and be like, oh yeah, I read that and I remember this, or that was totally forgettable. I didn't realize I even read it. So that is my reading goals. Let's see. I want to do voice acting. I say this, I think, every year. Ever since I started the podcast, I want to do voice acting. I would love to be in somebody's cartoon, whether that's a YouTube channel show, whether it's, for a class or something, some sort of voiceover work. So voice acting is another one of the goals that I want to be on. Next, I want to be a guest on 10 podcasts. Now, this is kind of interesting because I host a podcast. I have guests on my show. But since I am getting into putting more of my books out there, going to different conventions, I would love to start promoting myself and talk on other people's shows and do guest spots and live in their shoes and not just try to have everyone come over to my show. So 10 guest spots on a podcast would be amazing. I also want to see growth in the show and numbers that I haven't had yet because I've been kind of capsized. So I want to push past my current listeners and get even more. We'll see what happens with that. As far as a writer, what I want to come out with is I am currently working on 6 titles. I'm writing them at some capacity, whether that's writing it as a pitch to find an artist or as a pitch to then submit to some sort of open submissions for, let's say, Image or an anthology series. So I have 6 books in the works that I'm writing on, and my goal is to get 3 of those this year out in physical or digital copies. And I think that's really possible. I want to try to do one in the spring, one in the summer, and then one in the fall, winter. If I can get more than 3 out, like maybe that's a zine that I draw or something else like that, that'd be amazing. That'd be freaking great. But we'll see. So next, I also do want to launch a new video show that might require me learning more video editing techniques and put more time into what I want that video content to be. But I think another step in moving away from a traditional day job is to have more content, and there's so many things I like talking about. So if I could put that forward, I would love to be doing that. this is another one from something I learned from 2017, talking to friends, talking to my day job. I want to say the word hate less. I don't hate green beans. I don't think they are awesome either, but I don't hate green beans, and I need to kind of remove the word hate from my dialogue unless I really mean it. I'm just giving it artificial value on things. Like, I don't hate movies. Like, at the end of the day, it's 2 hours of fiction, and it can be boring or it can be whatever, but taking hate out is just like a reminder to not be so hyperbolic. That's another thing I want to do less, is to be so describe everything like hyperbole, that it's the most best. No, I'm trying to, unless it's something I'm really excited about, then that's authentic. Like, hyperbole can be very authentic and useful, but it's things that I looked at last year and was like, oh my gosh, I'm overdoing it in these ways, and trying to be more conscious of my thoughts and taking a second to breathe and just let those thoughts marinate before I just shoot from the hip with, that suck, I hated it, or this is the most amazing thing in the world. Like, I love getting excited, but the hyperbole, I want to slow down. Now, this is the most important thing on my list, and that's getting married. Something I've talked about on the show. Cynthia, Garrett, and I are engaged. We've been dating. Now we're engaged. We have a wedding date. So 2018 is the year that I get married, and I can't wait. This is not hyperbole. It is like the most wonderful thing to happen to me. She's an amazing person and creator, partner, everything. So getting married is, if nothing else happens this year, if I don't get to voice act, whatever, how many books I read, that is the most important, is getting married. We're already planning everything. It's crazy and fun, and I'm very excited. So 2018 is the year that I get married. And that kind of piggybacking off of getting married is another thing I really want to do, is do more sightseeing. That's like taking a hike or going down a trail I haven't gone down, going to new restaurants instead of just the old favorites. Like, do more sightseeing and taking more chances with that and seeing the world more. And part of that is going to more conventions and then traveling to new cities in that way. But also, while I'm in Portland and while I go to Tucson and when I go to these places or those places, wherever I'm traveling, trying to take in the sights and not just be consumed in the little like neighborhood that I live in or wherever it might be. So those are like some of the goals I set out. I think it's something that is always changing and growing. That's why I don't look at it as a New Year's resolution. I think New Year's resolutions are kind of a really high bar that is impossible to set sometimes, or there are these very ambiguous things where I just wanted to set out things that I want to work on that could change over the year. Like, maybe I read 100 books and it's only May, so that can keep growing, but they're like staples and things I want to hit and then get past them and keep going and keep working on myself. With that being said, let's move on to things I'm excited about. So 2018 brings arguably way too many nerd fiction-y movies, but we'll kind of I'm going to rattle some off and we'll get through that list of movies I'm really excited about and interested in hearing, and then we'll move on to the next one. Sorry about that. I had a frog stuck in my throat. So, movies 2018. We have Black Panther, Venom, X-Men Dark Phoenix, New Mutants, Deadpool 2, Aquaman, Ant-Man and Wasp, Avengers Infinity War, Jurassic World, A Wrinkle in Time, Han Solo, the Star Wars story, like solo movie, The Incredibles 2, Ready Player One, Tomb Raider, Wreck-It Ralph 2, Red Sparrow, Into the Spider-Verse, this movie Annihilation, and then this weird movie with Jason Statham called The Meg, which includes a 70-foot shark. And so it has Jason Statham, which is ridiculous, and a ridiculous 70-foot shark. I don't even need to know anything more about this movie. I want to check it out. Maybe not pay a theater price for it, but at least merits going to check it out. Also on the list is Isle of Dogs. That is a Wes Anderson movie, and I haven't seen the trailers yet, so I don't have anything to speak on, but I always enjoy seeing Wes Anderson movies. I don't think this will be any different, so I'm excited to see that, I guess. Incredibles 2, I really like the movie Incredibles. I am excited to see this sequel. We got a bunch of Cars sequels. I don't know why we haven't got this until 2018, but here we are, and I'm excited. And then right out the gate, you have Black Panther, which has looked really good, aside from the massive amount of CGI that is in every Marvel movie now. Wakanda looks beautiful, and the practical effects they do use look amazing. I'm very excited to see Black Panther. The soundtrack sounds already amazing. Like, Kendrick Lamar's attached to it. Like, there's so many things in this movie that for it to be bad, it would have to take a lot of like swing and misses, because it has so much going for it, and it looks like it's going to be amazing. Venom with Tom Hardy. We'll see if it even comes out this year or gets pushed. I don't know. I don't know if we need a Venom solo movie. Kind of seems like Suicide Squad didn't do too well. I don't know if Venom will. X-Men Dark Phoenix also seems like the decline of X-Men movies over the years, so I can skip that. New Mutants, though, looks interesting, like a horror take on the X-Men series, but also it's like, is it a horror movie and then they just like slap X-Men and mutants into it and just trying to cash in on that? I don't know. And then X-Men Infinity War, of course, looks awesome. A lot of these movies are going to be a lot of fun. Probably too many of them are going to be, what should I say, popcorn fluff that like is forgettable, because that's kind of where we're at. Except for maybe Wrinkle in Time and Annihilation, which looks like a really interesting sci-fi horror movie. Like, kind of like Aliens. Yeah. Next, let's get into apps that I'm excited about. So in 2017, I would frequently talk about apps that I use on my phone a lot, and that's something I'm trying to reduce and substitute reading books more. But there are a couple cool app and games coming out that I really want to at least download if they're free, and then check them out. So Marvel Strike Force. Look, I still don't have a console for gaming, so I'm going to use my phone to game. And Marvel Strike Force looks really interesting. It looks like what's it called? The old top-down, like X-Men Legacy and Avengers game that they used to have, but on the mobile screen. Then there's an Assassin's Creed game. There's Skylight Awaits, which is from the team that made Journey, which was really cool. So I want to see what they do. I think with the iPhone and with touchscreen, like with the intuitiveness, you can do really creative things. It just depends on if they're doing shovelware and just microtransaction games that just want to take away and make you pay a lot of money. So, I mean, Super Meat Boy is getting adapted to the iPhone, which could be really cool. There's some sort of Zelda game rumored to be on iOS. We'll see if it's just trying to cash in, like kind of like Fire Emblem did and Super Mario Run, or if it does something unique and actually puts Zelda out there. Now, that being said, if you are into Zelda and you have an iPad or an iPhone, check out Oceanhorn. It came out, I think, like 3 years ago in 2015. It's like $6. It's pretty much Zelda. It's really fun. Go check it out. I put music on this list because I just wanted to make a note to myself that I want to discover more music this year. Last year, I discovered a lot of music through Tiny Desk by NPR on YouTube, and then also just like coworkers and friends playing stuff while I'm at work. And I want to continue to grow and listen to new music and check things out, and not just be like, well, I like this band and they're related to that band, so that's how I found out. And I'm just going to keep myself closed off to like a couple of genres. No, like I want to hear a bunch of stuff from a lot of different people, and that's really easy when you have coworkers that all like different things. And so part of this year is discovering way more music. Now let's jump into TV shows really quick. Game of Thrones got pushed to 2019, so that off the list. There's my CW shows returning for another season. All my like DC CW shows that I love watching. And then there's The Handmaid's Tale season 2 returning. Cloak and Dagger, Titans, Black Lightning looks really good, also on the CW. And then there's like Heathers, the 80s movie is being adapted into a TV series, which kind of looks bad. Then there's a show called Castle Rock, but it's produced by J.J. Abrams, so it could be good. Westworld season 2, I think, is going to be pushed to 2019. And I think that's kind of it. I mean, I'm already watching TV. I'll continue to watch the shows I already like. There is this one called Altered Carbon, which is a Netflix original, and it's described as Blade Runner meets Ghost in the Shell. It's animated. I'm sold. Blade Runner meets Ghost in the Shell sounds fantastic. Whether they can deliver on that is a high bar, but I'm very interested. So Altered Carbon might be a new TV show to go check out. But Handmaid's Tale, if you haven't seen it, go check that out. It's on Hulu. All right, so comics. I already have a huge stack of books off camera that I'm trying to work through and also add to that number of 100 books for this year. But that being said, Jeff Lemire books. Anything that comes out by Jeff Lemire, I'm going to pick up. And he has the continuing story Black Hammer, as well as this new launch, I think it comes out in February, called Gideon Falls. And then Sex Criminals is continuing. But then there's so much more. In comics, it's really hard to know about new titles because they keep that stuff until they're ready to have a press release. So it's not like movies where I can look at fall comics. Like you could look at fall movies for 2018. So I have a list of 100 books I'm trying to get through and get to that number and just continue to discover more. There's a lot of fantastic comic shops I get to go to in Portland here, Books with Pictures, and they recommend a lot of great stuff. So I have no problem with like knowing I'm going to discover way more fun comics. And then lastly, it is life. My life this year in 2018, like I already said at the beginning of the show, I want to go more sightseeing. I want to read more. I want to use hate less. I want to be open to way more things happening. But I have a wedding. That means a honeymoon also. Take some vacation time on that honeymoon and really enjoy this next step in my life. Just like I try to do when I finish writing a book, is taking the moments and like events that are happening and really try to appreciate them, because so many bad things happen that you have to appreciate the good ones and the small ones and the things that connect you to other people, which is humans and friends and family. So it's like planning this wedding and having it, and then appreciating that I just got married, and appreciated that I'm having a honeymoon and that I'm on vacation and not worrying necessarily about how to pay for everything or where that's going. Like that's all going to come. And I had a great friend and letterer of my comics, Thomas Keith, talk about how you gotta appreciate when you finish something and when you do something new and when you accomplish something. So to anyone who's a creator out there and is working on books and works on a drawing, you can be self-deprecating enough to hate yourself about, oh, I can do better. Like it's always, I think there's a healthy push to not get stagnant and always grow. But also, like, if you finished your first comic, take a second and just like, dude, I did this. I finished my comic. At the end of the day, no one can take that away from me. And of course it can be better and it can be different. And that's what the next book is about, or the next song you make, or whatever it is. And so it's really about appreciating those moments. And in 2018, if I'm really trying to push to release 3 books, I also want to take the time to be like, dudes, I freaking made 3 books. I had them come out, and I worked with different artists with different like time constraints, and I pitched something I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to break into comics, and that doesn't happen overnight, but it also it'll continue to go so fast because you'll just be working if you don't appreciate everything. And then there's a lot of like Comic-Cons I'm trying to go to this year. I know this is like a kind of a left turn, but so I want to appreciate everything I'm doing and then travel and then take in the things I'm doing. So I got Rose City at September this year, Tucson Comic Con in November, and then we'll see what other smaller cons or things happen between then. We're applying for stuff, and then we have to get approved and see where everything goes. But I'm setting out to do a lot this year and actually think about and be conscious of what I'm doing and where I'm going. And some of that maybe means being healthier, and some of it means just taking a minute to breathe. But it's all about trying to look at 2018 in a better, fresher perspective, especially between all the revelations that happened in 2017 as a world, the whole getting woke thing, and just with YouTube people being bad and pop culture people being awful. I want to make sure that I'm appreciating everything in my life and continuing to learn and grow. Thank you so much for listening. More episodes coming, guests coming very soon. Not all the guests will be video podcasts because they get the right to not be on video. But I appreciate all you for listening, watching, whatever you do, however you consume it. If you enjoyed the show, give it a like wherever you're at, or just share it with somebody. That's how I think these things really spread and grow, is through sharing it and recommending it to a friend or family or an enemy, whatever you may want to do with it. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see y'all next time. See you later. Bye. 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 Bye.